Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Biohazard Candy Kid here, coming at you with another great video. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself, and stuff like that, because I know I am. I'm enjoying myself right now. Life is good. I got an update for you. I'm going to tell you about it once it happens, if it happens. So stay tuned. It's going to be really awesome. You guys are going to love it. But we're going to talk about something today. Alright, I'm going to start off with this because I just thought of it. At the turn of the century, okay, so well, actually, we're going to say this. We're gonna do this. The French invented, well, actually, I'm gonna step back. I'm going to step back even further because my mind keeps going back, okay? So, the human quest for traveling, the human quest for some type of vehicle to travel on, has been here since the beginning of time. One of the first men, tried to fly, and God didn't allow him to fly. He made wings out of, paper and candle wax or whatever he did. The Bible's, the stories in the Bible also. And he tried to fly and God didn't let him fly. Why didn't God let him fly though? Because God said man is not supposed to fly, as well as certain other creatures on this planet, other living organisms on this planet. Not supposed to fly. But there are things that fly that really aren't supposed to. Humans, we fly. Ground transportation. I mean, not in the air. Whether it's on land or the sea, we developed that too. We've tried to develop it, and then it came to fruition, and now we have it. Okay? But the automobile, okay, is a very old ancient story. Aristotle, who came up with that self-propelling steam motor, was like the first example of like a motor. Okay? You have two opposite ends like this. You have a boiler in the middle. You have some water. You heat it up and it starts spinning. Okay? Now, the Chinese, somewhere I believe in the ancient times, in one of their dynasties, they propelled one of their kings, one of their emperors, forward using a rocket method. Okay? Basically sticking a bunch of fire lances in the back of his chair, lighting them off, and it was about probably 20 of them, stuck in his chair in the back, lighting them off, just like that. Okay? And that's a thing that actually happened. But if we fast forward to the Middle Ages to about, I would say, 1800, that time period, what happened? Well, the French, they invented the bicycle. It didn't have any pedals, but it was the same concept. It had the two wheels, the frame, and then the handlebars, okay? They also invented the car. They built a little working model of like a steam-powered car, which actually worked. This thing really worked. And it was a little model, thing you could put on the floor, put some water in it, boil it, watch it go, put it on the table, whatever. It wouldn't be until the 1700s, and ships were built and stuff like that. We had ships being built, from the beginning of time, like a raft, all the way up until the 1700s, the big clipper ships and stuff like that. And some of them were even experimenting with steam-powered ships in the 1700s, early steam-powered. And we also had early balloons that, later, in the 1800s would be these big hot air balloons. And then in the 1900s, you have these hot air balloons transition into like war balloons, for observation and stuff like that. But really, modern transportation wouldn't really happen until a man in England named Richard Trevithick it wouldn't be until a man named Richard Trevithick, who invented the first steam locomotive, that we would have modern transportation. Go look it up. Richard Trevithick. He was before George Stephenson, who invented the Stephenson rocket here in the United States, which was the fastest train at the time in the 1829 to 1830. Actually, let's say 1828 to 1831. But Richard Trevithick invented the first working steam engine, and England had one of the first working steam railroads, and they had one of the first working underground railroads, which would be subways, which were just steam trains that went underground. But it wasn't completely a subway like what Chicago started to do in the 1880s, 1890s with electrified cars. Now, you have to think this. Steam power, okay, it's pretty old. Like I told you, Aristotle had that steam boiler type of, mechanical engine. So here comes Richard Trevithick with this steam-powered train, which is basically water, coal, and sand, okay? You have to have the three elements inside of a steam locomotive. Why? Because the sand is for when you go up the grades, down the grades, up the mountain, down the mountain, and stuff like that, acts as like a weight. Then you have the coal and the water to power it. And that's how come they have areas where they collect the coal and put it into the back of the train so then they could use it in the train, and then they have that big water tower. Of course, nowadays we don't have that. Now we have diesel trains, electric trains. Some countries still have steam trains. We still have them here in America as like novelty items and stuff like that, where they do like, where you can get on and do these old school rides and stuff and kind of get a feel for what an old 30s, 1800s train, kind of feels like. Now, what happened? In the 1800s, we started to have people doing various inventions with steam, electricity, diesel, gasoline. Because remember, we had Rudolf Diesel, who invented the diesel engine. And he was a German engineer. He was from Germany. He lived in Germany. And he invented the diesel engine, which they first started to put into use for factories and stuff and other things before they put it into vehicles. But they did even experiment with vehicles a little bit in trucks, okay? Well, one of the first electric trains was actually in the 1800s. One of the first railroads, BOBO, included an electric train, a locomotive, okay? The first electric locomotive. And it wasn't very fast. It used a lot of electric power, wasn't efficient, and stuff like that. And you're going to see where I'm headed with this. At the end of the 1800s, of course, people will lay claim to, the English and the Germans inventing the first automobile, especially the Germans. Mercedes-Benz, Carl Benz, Daimler, okay? But it was the French, as a matter of fact. The French actually had the first working automobile. And actually, after the French, there was a guy in America who created the very first automobile accident in the 1700s. He developed a car. I forgot his name, but he developed a big car. It had a big boiler in the front, and this was back east, somewhere in Massachusetts, I think. And he had the very first accident. He ran into a horse carriage, and they banned his car. His car went about probably 1 to 3 miles per hour in the city streets. So before Carl Benz, before the British, before the Germans, in the late 1800s, we had an American guy, we had the French, and then we had the Chinese. Then we had Aristotle's, little water boiling motion, motor generator thing. And then we had the man who tried to fly, that fell from the balcony, didn't even make it because God said you're not supposed to fly. And that's before the Wright brothers and all these other people, in the 1800s to 1920, okay? So, you know what else happened at the turn of the century? You know what else happened from 1880 to 1920? Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. We had a bunch of electricity, items being created. Light bulbs, radios, even early forms of television, broadcasting, electromagnetic waves, electronics, early computers, early electric cars. At the turn of the century, in 1900, 1901, 1899, there were more electric cars on the road than anything else. Thomas Edison actually even invested in electric batteries. The Edison battery that they put in some of these electric cars was Thomas Edison's invention. He came out with it. And then he said, this is not going to go. This is not going to catch. So I'm going to quit and just continue on with my other projects. Like the movie theater, the video camera, stuff like that. He was a pioneer in it. Well, we had more electric cars at the turn of the century. But what happened? You want to know what happened? Because we had such a big, how should I say, finding of oil in this world, especially in Texas, if we're going to talk about America, and Saudi Arabia, if we're going to talk about, the Middle East, and Africa, and China, everywhere, and stuff like that. Everywhere on this planet, oil was just squirting everywhere. We were squirting out this black stuff out of these, big dick pipes. Well, guess what? That one, they basically pushed gasoline cars forward instead of electric cars, instead of hybrid cars, instead of steam cars, because there were steam cars. There was all kinds. There were even people making perpetual motion cars at the turn of the century. Cars that ran on water. But see, all these oil tycoons, they said, no, we want the oil. We need to make the money. Okay, so gasoline cars were the ones to stay. But now there's a future. A future of electric cars. You know what? I'm going to say this. Here's the truth. The truth is, let's not put the electric cars out now in 1900. Even though we have the infrastructure, even though it's great. Let's not put our fourth industrial revolution out now. Let's put it out 300 years from now. And it's 300 years from now. We're living it now. Now they're pushing all this electric stuff. California has electric only models. Like, what I mean is California, okay, here in this state, there are models being sold by certain companies that are California only specials, and they're electric because of California's stupid electric law, because of the ban they just put on gasoline vehicles. I'm not for this electric stuff. Why are you guys still buying Teslas and these Kia electric cars and these Toyota electric cars, even though all these companies say they still want to keep their gas stuff? Why are you buying that? It's incremental creep. You need to stop buying electric cars. Don't buy one. Stay away from them. They're actually satanic vehicles. The devil created electric cars. And as a matter of fact, I don't agree with gas cars either. Not because of, gas cars don't pollute. For one thing, I'll say this. The manufacturing of any type of vehicle that is not free energy, that is not the godly energy that we could be using to travel, pollutes. All of them, whether it's gas, electric, hybrid, they all pollute. Just look at the factories they're built in. It doesn't matter if your car gets 2,000 miles per gallon. There are resources out there that God has given us that will give us infinite travel, that we could build vehicles out of. We could build vehicles and use these resources, and the vehicles will never run out. They would never die. They will last forever. Oh, but we wouldn't make any money. Yeah, you would be making money. Because we have to keep producing humans. You have to keep manufacturing those cars. They have to keep buying them, the new generation. Oh, but the old one lasts forever. Why do they need to buy a new one? Well, see, because if you build this many cars because there's this much population, when the population grows, you need to build more cars. And the new population has to build more. You have to, it's supply and demand. If the population is 10, okay, and you have 10 cars, and then the population grows to 11, okay, 11, you have to build one more car, and that person has to buy your car. So you made money. You get my point? Or do you not get my point? Seriously. Stop buying electric vehicles. Oh, one man's not going to change that. Are you serious? How many one mans have there been on this planet? How many one mans has there been on this planet that have changed the course of history? A lot of them. A lot. One man's not going to change anything. Look at what Donald Trump did. One man. And look what he did. Screwed this country. Joe Biden screwed this country. All the presidents were one man. They screwed everyone. So I'm going to screw the electric car companies. I'm going to screw all this electric, bullshit that they're putting on us. It's about time that we take action. No more electric stuff. And it's not just because our power grid cannot support it, but because it's evil and it's satanic. I don't care if people say it's not going to happen. This is just all fluff. Let's get rid of it. Instead of just saying, oh, you watch, it's not going to happen in due time, they're going to fail. No, let's get rid of it. Let's have it fail today, right now. So go to your council members, put electric car bans in your cities, wherever you live on this planet. Tell your city officials, we want an electric car ban. Tell them that if you don't put an electric car ban, we're coming at you with our guns, our tanks, our military weapons, and you're dead. Is it that simple? Is it that hard? Just go to your elected officials that you elected and tell them there's going to be electric car ban. Switzerland just did that. Switzerland put an electric car ban in their country. You cannot sell electric cars in their country. You cannot drive an electric car in their country, whether you're live in the country or you're from outside the country. You can't do anything. You must have an internal combustion engine. All they said was electric. They didn't say anything about perpetual motion or free energy cars or thorium cars. They just said electric. And I think all these technologies, new or old, are all satanic. They need to get the fuck out of here. Seriously. We can't be having this. We have to have the cars that make sense, the vehicles that make sense. There are people out there who have gotten killed because they have invented a vehicle that lasts forever. There's a guy in Southeast Asia, okay? This is what he did. He took an old Honda Accord, I guess from the 80s or 70s, okay? And he basically gutted it out in the engine. He built a whole new engine in it that goes off water. You can literally stick your water hose from your house into the car, fill it up with water, turn it on, and it goes. You could take a cup of water, put it into your car, and it'll just go. You know what happened to him? He got killed. How come he got killed? Because he made something that would last forever. He made something, he did something, that basically is so abundant that there would be you wouldn't have to charge it. I mean, he even, told people, you can even take salt water out of the ocean, put it in here, and the car will run. Because it has a system that just cleans all the dirtiness out of the salt water in the ocean. See, it's people like that who get killed. It's these other bastards out here, Elon Musk and shit, who keep, doing their piece of crap work. Let's get them out of here. Let's not get, the real people out of here. Let's get those demons out of here. Why are we buying electric cars for? I support internal combustion engine cars. As a matter of fact, Honda created a CRX which got, 70 miles to the gallon in the 80s. And people are talking about the Prius, Toyota Prius. Okay, great, Toyota Prius. There's an electric component to it. We can build cars that get 200 miles to the gallon and make it to where you spend 50 cents in gas. No, literally, we can charge people 15 cents per gas. We can do that. It's just that these evil demons do not want that. They want to make the people suffer. They don't want to, you know what, I'm going to tell you this. They don't want an upper class or a lower class. They don't want that. They don't want a middle class. You know what they want? They want a robotic class. They want a class where only robots exist on this planet and the only ones in charge are the demons and the evil humans. And they just want it to be all computerized. They want to kill all humans, all of us. They want all of us gone. So all these moves they're making, all this chess play, it's because they want everyone gone. They're kicking everyone off the board except themselves. They're like, I win, checkmate. When me, I'm going to be the last one on the board. And you ain't going to checkmate me for shit because I'm going to get all of you. We're all going to get all of you. There's too much of us. You can't kill all of us. You can't do shit. So don't buy electric cars. Ban them in your cities. Hydrogen cars? Okay, it's water. I totally agree. Something other than electric that will last forever. Let's get these free energy cars out here. Yeah, I know there's a whole bunch of free energy bullshit on the internet. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real shit. Like that movie about the lady who developed that train that could run off of this infinite energy stuff. That was some raw shit. And it's a book too from the 1950s, I believe. And they made a sequel, part 2 to it. I forgot the name of the movie, but we have it downstairs on DVD. It's a great movie. If I remember the name of it, I'll let you know. Seriously, here in California, all of you should reverse that ban and get rid of electric cars and say no electric cars to be sold in California. And then go tell your fellow people in other states to do the same thing. And then go tell the people in Washington, D.C. Start locally. It starts with localism. Oh, and the other thing that we need to get rid of, we need to get rid of all food that is fake, that is GMO, that is transhumanist food. We need to get rid of all of it. And we need to go back to growing our own gardens in our backyard. And having our own animals. That's what we need to do. Hey, look, if you don't want to do this and you'd rather rot in hell, be my guest. Your choice. Go ahead, rot in hell. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you. Did you rot in hell? How was it? It was great, wasn't it? I'm glad you liked it. Keep rotting. Seriously, keep rotting. So let's get rid of all the bad things that are happening on this planet. Enough talking, enough, listening to people who just blah, 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 blah. Don't even listen to me. Seriously. And just go get rid of the stuff. It's not that hard. I mean, you get rid of cockroaches in your house. You get rid of ants. So why can't you get rid of this stuff? Ants are good for the environment. Cockroaches are good for the environment. They're part of this environment. So why get rid of them? Why are you getting rid of them? Why don't you get rid of those evil bastards who are running the show? And having you be the puppet, and then when you're not needed, just cut the strings. Huh? Come on. Let's be real. If we each do our part in doing what's right, this world will be fixed. Live according to God. Do what God says. Read the Bible. And don't be a fake religious person. I don't tolerate that. I hate that shit. Oh, hate is a strong word. Fuck you. And the other thing, You know? I'm going to say this. For all of you on the internet who make videos about video games, just stop. Just stop. I play video games too. But would you just stop? Because apparently all of you don't seem to understand or know, and you don't know that you don't know, what a real good video game is. Y'all don't know. I have friends who do. I know. You know, I'm going to touch on the racing genre. So I've been playing racing games my whole life. I'm a big racing person. I have a racing wheel and pedals. I have a fight stick. I have, airplane controls for flight simulators. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell it to you like this. Gran Turismo, okay, is what really started the simulation franchise. The whole simulation franchise of racing games started with Gran Turismo. It didn't start with anybody else. I know a lot of other people will debate it and say, well, there were games previous that were simulation. No, they were Simcade. There was nothing like Gran Turismo in the 90s. Gran Turismo 1 and 2. You see how many cars were in there? You see how many tracks were in there? You see how simulative it was? Go buy an original PlayStation, okay? Go buy an original PlayStation right here. This thing right here. You see this? This is an original PlayStation. And there's many different versions. You just got to look at the back and see what version you have. Go buy an original PlayStation. Go play Gran Turismo 1 and 2. I have Gran Turismo 2. You can't complete it because it was a rush game, but it's still a great game. The rushiness doesn't mean it's a shitty game. They just rushed it, meaning they didn't get to complete it in time. Make an ending. That's all it was. But the game is great. Give me a game from the same year that is as great as Gran Turismo 2. Need for Speed? Yeah, they had some great ones. Need for Speed High Stakes. Need for Speed 2. Need for Speed 1. The original. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 3. It's great. I love them. But Gran Turismo, as a simulation game, it was like the first, the best. After that, everyone just started getting into simulation. Even Need for Speed got into simulation. With Need for Speed Shift and Shift 2 Unleashed. All because of Kazunori Yamauchi and Polyphony Digital. So all you people who play these Forza Horizons and Forza Motorsports and Enthusia and Assetto Corsa and all that, I play those too. Yeah, some of them. But all you people, you better give thanks to Gran Turismo. First of all, if you want to talk about simulation games, you have to recognize that Gran Turismo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the best. And the PSP version. Because think about this, the PSP version, you collect all the cars, then you, attach it to your PlayStation 3, and you get to put all those cars in Gran Turismo 5. What other game did that? Oh, that's right, Gran Turismo 3 onto Gran Turismo 4. Where in Gran Turismo 3, when you completed the whole game, in Gran Turismo, and then you popped in Gran Turismo 4, it would ask you, would you like to import all of your whole garage from Gran Turismo 3 to Gran Turismo 4? Think about what you would be starting off with in Gran Turismo 4. All the cars you got from Gran Turismo 3. Think about it. That's like 100, barely 200 cars. Think about that. What other game did that? where you could import these cars into the next version. You know what's another great game? Which actually really defined the tuner genre really well? Juiced and Juiced 2 Hot Import Nights. Look at Juiced 2 Hot Import Nights and how much customization you could do in 2007 on the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 2, the PSP, the Xbox 360, and PC. Seriously. Pole Position is a great F1 racing game. F1 2001 is a great racing game. F1 99. All the rally games of the 90s are great. But there's a lot of games out there that you guys say are great, like the Forza Horizon series. Forza hasn't made a motorsport series in a while. Forza Motorsports is great, but the Horizon series? Open world? The only open world game that I think is great is the one from Need for Speed. Which was Need for Speed, how was it? Need for Speed Unleashed? No, crap. Now I can't remember it. But the one that came out in 2000 and 2003 or whatever, 2001? Need for Speed Underground and Need for Speed Underground 2. Those were great. Street Racing Syndicate was great. I mean, what game featured hot cars that you could modify that then you could go pick up a girl and have them do a dance for you? Come on. Grand Theft Auto only had that. Street Racing Syndicate had that. Oh, your list of games is shit. You don't know what you're talking about, man. Assetto Corsa is great. Assetto Corsa Competizione. But we have to start somewhere and give thanks to the predecessors. All of you now are talking about R Factor 2 and how great it is. Oh, it's a great game. I love R Factor 2. But you know what? If it wasn't for Gran Turismo, you wouldn't have R Factor 2. Oh, this guy seems like he's mad. Look how he's talking. I'm not mad. I'm just telling you like it is. Gran Turismo is the father of simulation racing. End of story. The father of arcade racing? You know what I'll say that is? Mario Kart. It's the best-selling game, bar none, of all time. Best-selling game of all time, bar none. Mario Kart came out in Super Nintendo. My best friend has it on the Super Nintendo. Or actually came out on NES, I think. Then Nintendo 64, Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo Wii U, Nintendo Switch. They even had a Game Boy Advance version. They even had a Nintendo DS or 3DS or DS Lite version. Mario Kart. Everybody loves it. It's the best game ever. The second is Gran Turismo. The third and fourth ones, because there's only like 4 of them. So it's Mario Kart, Gran Turismo. And I'll say Initial D as third. I mean, they could be in any order, but you know, these are the first 5 best, first 4 best. After Initial D, I have to say Need for Speed. Why Initial D? Because Initial D really took, like, okay. We never got Initial D here in the United States as a console game. We always got it as an arcade game. And what is it? It's racing in the mountains with Japanese cars. Based off, you know, it's the anime, the manga. And since everybody loves Japanese cars of the 90s and the 80s, and they love that whole street racing scene up in the mountains, a lot of companies wanted to imitate that. Tokyo Extreme Racer, Tokyo Extreme Drift. That's what we got here in the States. Need for Speed tried the same thing. Gran Turismo has somewhat of the same thing. All these, Assetto Corsas and Enthusiasts and all that, they do the same thing. Why Need for Speed? Because when EA Games was really EA Games, I would say from when it first was founded, when it was founded, from its founding to about 2008, they created a selection of games that was great, especially Need for Speed High Stakes and the first two Need for Speeds and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 3, because it's about taking exotic cars that, and I know Need for Speed High Stakes has, even some non-exotic cars. They have a Camaro and a Firebird, but in America, those are our sports cars, our exotic sports cars, American, okay? But you took all these cool exotic cars and you raced them. And then you had to get away from the cops in certain ones. I mean, there's a lot of great games. There's a lot of great racing games out there. But all of you who do these video game reviews or video game talks on the internet, like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, there's no energy behind it. To me, there isn't the video game energy behind it. I mean, there's some of you that are really old school. You really get what gaming is. You really get the glory days of gaming. You really talk about it, but even me right now talking about it, I don't feel that gaming energy. I mean, I do feel it a little bit, but I don't know. There's something missing in all of us. And we need to all be as a collective and stop the gaming industry from producing bad shit all across the board. And these esports events, come on, I fucking hate that shit. I like it where, some guy would host something in his garage with a bunch of TVs, set up for consoles and maybe a few computers over here for LAN play. And you'd have a tournament that way. And anything goes. You win, you win. You lose, you lose. End of story. You don't get butthurt and go to the officials and say, oh, I'm butthurt because I lost because of this. Or, oh, I won and I'm butthurt or whatever. Like, screw you. I don't know. But hey, look. This world is going crazy and we need to stop it right now. So I'm going to let you guys, enjoy your evening, enjoy your night. Like, subscribe, share. Don't like, don't subscribe, don't share. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. I don't really care. Make the world a better place. Expose evil one camera, one microphone at a time. Hey, let's do God's work. Bye, the Candy Kid's going to be signing out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay fresh. Stay positive. Peace.